Okay, then we will start off with Nancy Huggett, who is reading as the winner of our creative nonfiction contest. So Nancy is a settler descendant who writes, lives, and caregives on the unceded territory of the Anishinaabe Algonquin Nation, otherwise known as Ottawa, Canada. You can find her work in American Literary Review, Prairie Fire, Passages North, and the New Quarterly, in addition to the Fiddlehead. And she's won some awards, like the RBC PEN Canada's 2024 New Voices Award, which is a nice one, and also cites a gazillion rejections, but tells us that she keeps writing anyway. So thank you very much for being here, Nancy, and we look forward to hearing your work.
Thanks, Sue. I'm really happy to be here and see so many people here. So that's great. I'm reading excerpts from my essay, I am a good mother, I am a bad mother, I am no mother at all. And I've kind of cut and pasted a little bit because my daughter told me I really needed to read the end as well. So I've kind of skipped out the middle and I'll jump to the end. So I am a good mother. I loved her blue eyes, her bald head, her 10 fingers and 10 toes. I loved her puckered mouth as she tried to latch on, and the sparkle in her eyes the doctor called brushfield spots, and we called magic. I loved all her chromosomes, even the extra copy on the 21st. When they asked if we were going to keep her, we looked in horror at their grievous faces and left as quickly as we could, taking her home where a certain absence had been waiting for her all along. I am a bad mother. She never quite latched on to my breast and I cried. 1 week out, hormones raging and tears flowing instead of milk. I cannot feed her on my tears, I wailed. What kind of child will she be? Her lips and tongue and the roof of her mouth never mastered the full suck, no matter what we tried, which was everything. Positioning, spoon, small tube taped to breast. All the lactation consultants' tricks and tools offered only slim margins of success. My first failure flung me into disgrace, fed my own doubts about my fitness for motherhood. My own mother mothered me with liver and onions and rented a milking machine that made our lights and my breasts throb with each bovine pull. Good mother. Hand held up, thumb, pointer, and baby extended, middle 2 fingers folded to palm. How we learned sign language to give her the power to communicate, learned to sign love into the universe of our little neighborhood when the pond was the only dangerous thing, and still we went bump, bump, bump over the sidewalk edges in our reclaimed wagon, the suck and pull of mud on rubber boots as we searched for spring peepers, their song of riot in the greening trees, their virid leaping too quick for us to catch with muddy hands, giggling at the game of it, how all the children gathered, wandered with their nets, the older showing youngers how to spot long strings of opalescent spawn, Jessie hanging on their every word. It was milk moon time, when everyone came together, edging open spaces with their toes and tangling up in the dusk. We chose the neighborhood for her belonging, made connections that lasted decades and still linger in threads of care. Bad mother. She stared me down from halfway up the stairs. You can't make me, the chant of every 13-year-old into the abyss of becoming. Sometimes I turned away, sometimes I yelled, my exasperation shaking from the fist clenched against my thigh. If you don't smarten up, I'll send you to a group home. The profanity that we never named. Mother, mother, mother. The times I hid in the bushes to make sure she made it across the perilous intersection on her daily walks home from school. The time I drove her to some distant, dark industrial park to be at her boyfriend's side as he signed a wrestling contract for his alter ego, the Megalodon. How I poofed her hair so she could show up as the girlfriend, every feminist mother's dream. The time I ruined her life, the time she ruined mine. All. She fainted often, a fainter, the doctors said. I did not believe them. I did what mothers do, pushed and prodded and made them do all the tests just to shut me up. Cardiology, blood, EEG. But I did not, never asked for an MRI. If I had, would it have been different? Would they have identified the disease earlier? This moya, this puff of smoke, this narrowing of arteries, bringing blood to her brain. Would surgery have happened sooner when she was less vulnerable? Would the cascade of consequences, the post-surgical strokes across her frontal lobes have been avoided? When I am tired, when another symptom like vertigo or choking or aphasia appears, I shudder at the power I could have wielded, but didn't. All this letting go exhausts a body, this body that is mine. No mother at all. How I paced the park, measuring the distance between the triangle of tamaracks just beyond the tennis courts. My daughter, her fractured brain in a sudden flare of fight when I said something she didn't like, snake-eyed me and snarled, I'm going to slap you across the face. I did not disbelieve her, could feel my mothering mind begin to crumble, and so I walked away to pace at the park with no interest in pulling myself together, of wandering back into the day and trying to save it. I wove myself a web between the trees, a safe place to hold me, afraid perhaps of what was sloughing off, all the skin abrased by the litany of fists and fucks that spewed from her mouth when her brain misfired, tired of mothering, tempted to walk away, to disappear like those mythic figures we whisper about, half awe, half fear. Will all our daughters wound us so? I am. Last week on retreat, I rose alone in a strange country with the song of bluebirds out my window and enslaved blood tilled into the iron soil. I did not miss my mothering life. I was a wound and wonder of words. I walked these Blue Ridge woods and stared up at tulip trees towering. I had thoughts that did not circle back to hydration, to water, other than to the stream that trickles through the woods. I was full of ideas that followed me all the way through the day, and I did not have to put them down. They wandered with me and bloomed. I sunk into my body and walked as far as I wished through fields and stony meadows, along old country roads that curved into pasture, past the carcass of a fox and a tin can and a crow's feather, unhooked from holding on, from the long umbilical that is the rope that I would not cut, but here I was, and it was gone. There was not an ounce of missing. I could pretend the only body I had was mine, not battered or bruised by anything other than branches in the woods. Mother. This morning, myself mothered through these respite weeks, I wept upon awakening at the surprising joy of loving Jess. That I get to love her, keep loving her, never doubt the gift of going on and on with loving. I get to learn in ways I would never wish on others, of first loving into the absence of her, and then into the presence of her. There be monsters here. Absence is a hole, an emptiness we try to stuff with memories or poke to feel the pain of it, a ragged searing that erases what we thought was ours to hold. I try to love the absences, to drop my whole head in like a vulture, skull featherless flesh to keep the digging clean, nothing to preen. I explore the crannies of what's gone, her balance, her peripheral vision, the best part of her left eyebrow, the perfect arch of it, the word for spoon, the way she used to dance for hours in her room and other things long gone and shattered, the thought before the flash of anger. Once I'm done, I leave them on the side of the road, clean bones for sun to bleach, a memory in an album, a story that no longer stings because it was before, how she was set on moving out, how she traveled on her own, how her boyfriend stayed over, how we stretched the distances between us until they snapped back with the surgery and the strokes. Then I had to learn how to love into the absence of her, like breath into lung, bird into sky, empty into womb. After all, I've tunneled through my grief to arrive at now the thisness, the haosity of this life, how I get to love her, this Jess, this Broadway shine of glitter, this shark-eyed snarl of startle. This is the present presence of her, stripped of all my wantings, all my mother judgy lore, this game of life contestant, this magnolia burst of bloom, this growler and greeter, this maker of all my days. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Nancy. That was beautifully read. And congratulations. I thought I'd just read a couple of lines from Laurie Nielsen Glenn, who was the judge for this contest. So she said, when a piece of writing transcends trend and cliche and mines materials in a way that leaves me wanting, I am captivated. I am a good mother. I am a bad mother. I am no mother at all, is such an essay. The work is structurally elegant, meticulously edited, and deeply affecting. Here is a seesaw of emotions a parent experiences. Heartbreak, ferocity, delight, and anguish, distilled in ways that make the story both pierce and linger. I think that is apt, and thank you for reading some of the end.